thought not. Not a story the AI bros would tell you.
The Epstein files,
Well,
said
I
Skylar.
hope you're bending
Oh,
over because the
I've tried to
suppository's
stay away
coming in
from
one way or the
politics,
other. A recent report indicates that
even
Nvidia
though I
is
do
going
love
to be
that subject.
pushing the prices of RTX 5090 up to 5K. Uh, this is still an unconfirmed rumor from an insider source in
Hold on, what did he say?
indicates that Nvidia is going to be pushing the prices of RTX 5090 up to 5K. This is still an unconfirmed rumor from an insider source in South Korea, from what I can understand. That's kind of like, boots on the ground that's talking about it right now, which is where this headline is stemming from.
Odin Salty in chat says, "Oh yeah, PC gamers are so cooked right now. Pretty unfortunate since I was planning to be a PC gamer around this year." And I hate to say it, but not to pat myself on the back, but that's why I've always said, if there's some tech, or if there's any tech that you ever want, it generally is a good idea to get in early, or as early as you can, because you never know. Prices of graphics cards can jump up, parts can become scarce. If there's something you want, generally I would say the early. It's generally, and when it comes to tech, it's generally not a great idea to wait. Um, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Like I do think in certain cases it is a good thing to wait, especially like if you're unsure about the product. But I would say for the most part, if it is a product that is proven, that has a history of doing well, generally it's not in your best interest to wait just because you don't know where the market can go. 5K, bro. But yeah, if you're like an Xbox Series X would have been something great to wait on, because you know what I mean. But that's based on like you knowing how Xbox is gonna go. I mean, obviously now looking back on my Xbox, I'm like, dang, I bought this thing and they got like no games for it.
Previous price was 2K. This is over double.
Whoa, the previous price of those was 2,000. Wow, 2 to 5K. That's isn't that over 100%? Is that like 150% markup? Unless I can't do percentage.
That's an awfully hard bargain there. 5,000 clams for GPU here. Not exactly an easy sell to most people, I would imagine. Most sensible, sane human beings on the planet would be pretty upset about that. Now, again, this isn't fully confirmed, but what we do know is that, well, prices are probably going to be going up, which isn't all that surprising. I think most people were able to predict this. Don't need to be Baba Vanga to have that kind of.
The PC stuff keeps getting way more expensive, then fine. I'll just get all my consoles set up and play everything I got until they bring it down. Yeah. Problem is that I just don't think the market is gonna go down. People have been saying that for a while about these markets. Oh, the housing market's gonna crash. Video game market's gonna crash. People have been saying, like, I'm telling you, man, people have been saying that for 5 to 10 years now, that all these markets are gonna crash, and the markets never crash. So, um, I don't know. I don't want to act as though I know better, but everyone grab their retro consoles who might be here for a while. Dude, I got like almost 2,000 games behind me. If anything crashes, I'm good. I've got plenty of entertainment for the rest of time. Probably have too much.
Future site. We're already seeing it with RAM prices, and I gotta tell you, you might not like to hear this, but we're gonna rip the band-aid off. It's because of AI. Everything that was once good in your life, or everything that was reasonably priced in the tech sector, is getting significantly worse and significantly more expensive because of AI. If you want to keep plugging your ears to that fact, or just keep kicking the can down the road for the realization of AI having a supremely negative effect on your life, that's your call to make. But regardless, the sun still rises. The AI plague, the scourge, is coming. Whether you want to accept it or not doesn't matter. It is coming fast, aggressive, hard, and unlubed. It is raw. So I think it's best that you start paying attention to all of this now. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled doom and gloom here. So the claim about the GPU prices from Nvidia and all that, it comes from Newsys, a South Korean outlet. It was stressed that we're just seeing the beginning of monumental and borderline ridiculous price hikes in the GPU space. The report explained that sources have suggested a climb in RTX 5090 stakes from $2,000 at launch this year to as much as $5K later in 2026. AMD's RX 9000 series is apparently set to mimic that ticket growth, but not as steeply.
Um, Report explained that the source of just a climb of RTX 5090 stakes from 5,000. Goodness, that is a lot. It's friggin' raw. So
The article also has
you're
a
gonna
brief
be
mention of the
raw
RAM
from
prices,
those
which I've also
prices.
touched on and what I've also bitched about quite a few times now because of AI-driven data centers, and also one of only 3 RAM manufacturers just abandoning the consumer market come 2026 because they'd rather instead just exclusively sell and work with AI. So, yippee! That's great for all the normal people out there that want some technology in their homes. Hopefully you like fucking flint and steel and start learning the ways of the Amish, because soon technology will be a luxury you can't afford. It's crazy how as we get more and more advanced, it just starts to price people out. It's
Hey,
not
there's
getting
a
cheaper, it's getting so
Scarlet.
much worse because of
There's a Scarlet Mila in 1221 in the Twitch chat. What's up, Scarlet? They say hello.
AI.
What's up?
And
How
there's
are
this
you?
crazy hopium, this
We're
fucking
just chilling,
crackpot
watching some
lunacy thought
videos,
process
just
that
chit
people have,
chatting.
that once these AI data centers are all established and all these companies, worth trillions, start slowing down a little bit, well, then everything's going to get so much cheaper and it's going to be great for all of us. It's just going to be long-term pain.
Charlie is so great here. How are you doing? Says Mila. I'm doing great. How are you? I 100% or Onasalty in the YouTube chat says, why would I drop 5K on a graphics card that already relies on AI to run graphics and have better frame rates per second? It doesn't make sense for me. Now I agree. I just think, like, again, based on my adult life and how I've seen these markets and how I've seen everything go, I would definitely say if you're expecting things to drop or if you're expecting prices to get better, I think it's hope for the markets and for the prices to drop. I would say it's not realistic to expect that, though. That's my only thing. I think it's fine for you to hope for that. Do not expect it, because I would definitely say the chances of it are not great.
Or, sorry, short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Because you have to think about it. As I was saying, it's almost getting unrealistic to expect things to go down or to crash when it comes to these markets. Mainly because if you think about it, because Nvidia now, well, if you don't know, if you somehow don't know, Nvidia is now the largest company basically in the world. I think, what do they say? It's like the first $5 trillion company kind of happening right now. The thing you have to say is that if you're expecting them to crash or if you're expecting prices to go down when they are the richest company in the world currently, that's highly unrealistic. And it's also kind of bad because if you think about it, because I think Nvidia at the moment I think is like a large amount of GDP for the for the country in terms of, because it's such a massive company, they're generating insane amounts of money for whoever benefits from that in the US. It would actually be like totally disastrous for them to collapse or to go under because they're such a large amount of they're our richest company. So I would just say don't expect them to crash. If you're they definitely are not going to do that. I don't even think America would let it crash because they're such a huge company. I should have locked in early and gotten a PC before all this mess is owed and salty. Asus said they were making PC parts, and now I doubt it would be too affordable anyways. Yeah, fair enough.
Because that always works. Trickle down has a great history. That is a fucking flawless. That's 100% win rate when it comes to trickle down. And not only that, we all know corporations love to lower their prices. So once they're set up and once they've made oodles unfathomable amounts of money, they'll definitely start lowering the prices for every average Joe Schmo out there. That happens all the time. They love lowering prices. We see it often because they are for the people. So it's clearly just a matter of time before everything's really affordable again in the tech sector. We just gotta wait for them to reach
No.
the golden age, and then it's all smooth sailing. We're in good shape. And until then, well, why don't you just go ahead and start renting computers? Yes, a subscription-based economy. Just start renting your PCs because you don't need to own anything. Companies don't want you to own anything. You will own nothing and you will be happy. You can have the imagination of ownership with their little permission slip. You can license it for a certain amount of time, and that's all you need. You don't need any pesky owner.
That is a great point that Charlie is making, is that it's something really sad to think about, but it could be they're trying to price out people from being able to really afford PCs. That would be because if the prices of RAM and GPUs or graphics card GPU, yeah, graphics cards are way up. I mean, who's to say other parts don't go way up? I mean, our motherboards and hard drives going to get expensive too? At what price do people begin to get priced out of ever being able to build a PC? It could go the way of everything else, where like the only way to buy one is to throw one down on a payment plan, or to open up a new credit card just for Nvidia or something. That's kind of I don't say it's a scary thought. I mean, everything is like that now, but yeah, give it 5 more years, and maybe the only way you can afford a PC is to put one down on why can't I think of the word, is to get a monthly payment on one. You know what I mean? Where like the low end price of a PC is like $5,000 or something crazy like that. You know, which you're not terribly far from. I mean, my PC when I bought it was, I think this PC I spent like 1,300 on it, maybe 14, which at the time was a lot, but I don't know. I've loved this PC quite a bit.
I'm getting a little lost in the sauce of sarcasm. It's all bad. It's all really bad right now. It sucks. This wonderful little nugget of good news also comes on the heels of a previous blessing that Nvidia gave us, where it was announced that Nvidia might be cutting supply by up to 40% in 2026 due to memory shortages. I already talked about that, where there is the potential that Nvidia is going to be cutting back on supply by 30 to 40% come 2026. Very few things to be smiling about when it comes to the future of PC gaming, and not just PC gaming. I know everyone gets focused on that. This affects every industry in the tech space. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that means consoles will be the best option going forward too. And maybe they will be a more price-conscious option because PCs are looking to...
But then those prices would go up as well, because if companies now have to spend 5,000 each on a graphics card or something, or maybe not, that's just like probably 5090 is probably a high end. But if they have to spend double what they're currently spending on it, what makes you think your Xbox console is going to be, they're going to stay at 500, then they're going to shoot up to 1,000 for a PS5 or an Xbox? I don't know.
Astronomically change in price. But those are also going to be...
Xbox already raised their prices like 3 times in 2025. Well, yeah. And that's for them. They're getting ready for market markups. I think
those is also going to be all cattywampus as well. It's just a matter of time. We don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to happen. They use components that are exploding in price. So it's everything that's going to be affected, and it's not just gaming. It is literally everything in the tech space that uses these components, and guess what? That's pretty much everything in the tech space. Now, to revisit the article briefly about the GPU price soaring, both companies are reportedly planning to continue raising GPU prices every month going forward. It's highly likely that the price increases will extend across their entire product lineup, encompassing not only consumer GPUs, but also GPUs for AI data centers and servers. The average proportion of memory in the overall GPU manufacturing cost has recently exceeded 80%. This comes from...
Odin Salty says, they also raised the original Switch 1's price to encourage purchases for the Nintendo Switch 2.
The insider that's making these claims, again, none of it's fully confirmed or anything, but it also wouldn't even fucking surprise me. 2K to 5K is an incredible leap, but it's also just not that unrealistic anymore, actually. Like, take, for example, something even simpler, like a Game Pass. They literally doubled the price of that product. Companies aren't really afraid to absolutely blow up their price because people still pay it. So they just say, fucking cowabunga and let it rip. So I do think 2 to 5K, while being astronomical, isn't something that's off the table. Now again, it's not confirmed. Maybe it won't be up to 5K. Price will increase, no doubt, but maybe it won't go up to that crazy level. Maybe it doesn't. But even still, it probably will be a sizable price increase that is just something to not look forward to. And it's really like, I'm not seeing any like good news coming in the future with all of this shit. Like, it feels like it's only going to continue to spiral more and more out of control for just your average consumer. It just super sucks. And even the most adamant of deniers will eventually have that come to Jesus moment of, wow, I can't afford things now because of AI. This is having a detrimental impact on my life. It's going to happen at some point, but until then, I guess they'll just continue to AI generate trash Reddit tier fucking Keanu Reeves Deadpool videos out the wazoo till the cows come home, and then eventually they can't afford the computer to do that anymore. Yep, terrible stuff. Anyway, just wanted to yap about this a bit. That's it. See ya.
Well, interesting, because that was such a big story. I actually saw someone else talk about this. Same thing. Odin Salty in chat says, can we please go back to the days of Will Smith's spaghetti AI when it was stupid and being laughed at? Now those days are long gone at this point.
And the push that seems to be accelerating on the AI side, especially with some of these companies and the amount of money that's getting thrown around, it's actually not that hard to believe, though. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And I wanted to bring this up just especially for anyone out there who is thinking about upgrading or even buying a GPU. This might be the time to do it, because this might actually be the lowest we see prices for quite some time. But I'm going to go over all that with you guys here today. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. So let's take a look over here. this, we're going to start with some context, some backstory. OpenAI's Stargate project, they consume up to 40% of global DRAM output. And you've probably been hearing about how AI and like these companies like OpenAI are just eating up all the DRAM output, or almost the majority of it. 40% of global DRAM output for OpenAI alone is staggering, right? And you see Ink's deal with Samsung and SK Hynix, who you've probably heard come up quite a bit in those discussions, to the tune of up to 900,000 wafers per month. It's important to note, here they're just looking for undiced wafers. That's how many they, like the volume that they're looking at. I mean, they say it highlights the vast volumes of memory and other components that Stargate needs is absurd. It's hard to wrap your head around how much they need for these data centers. Again, the fact that it's affecting 40% of the total DRAM output, like is like mind-blowing for that, right? So you think about DDR5, you think about even like DDR4 to an extent, as they even mentioned low power DDR4, low power DDR5, HBM, just different kinds of memory that would be affected here. That, as I mentioned, with a trickle-down effect, means that on the consumer grade level, we're going to see prices increase because there's just less left after all of this for us. Now, with this in
I'll be
mind,
honest,
this was from October
what I
1st,
click
and
on?
think about
He's kind of dipping into stuff that I a little bit above my head. I feel like I used to be in the know of PC stuff. I'm kind of I feel like I'm kind of a caveman now. I feel like the only time I'm ever in the know of like PC stuff is when I'm like looking for one, and then I immediately like forget everything tied to them.
when you started to see prices for DDR5, DDR4, any of the stuff going up. This is for DDR4, by the way. I'm not even bothering to pull up DDR5. You know where we are with that. But the fact that DDR4 is even seeing kind of a price surge right now, this is just for there's two 8 GB sticks of DDR4 3200. All right, and you look at where it was. This was in June, so over the summer, it was you could get a pair, so 16 gigabytes, a pair of 8 GB sticks. It was less than $60. It was closer to $50 than anything else. And now look where we are. This is December. We're up to 110 or so dollars.
My
I did
goodness.
look around on eBay, which eBay is also affected by these prices, even though
So
it's
good RAM is
used.
doubled
Those
in
prices
price
also go up alongside
in
of
less
this,
than
and
a
that's
year.
usually how you're going to find DDR4 now anyway, for the most part. But just about across the board, DDR4 is getting more expensive, and I think
And that's
a lot
just
of
for
that has to do
DDR4.
with
That's not
the
even
demand coming
DDR5.
off of DDR5 and moving to DDR4 in that used market, right? So people are going, why would I spend more than a PS5 on 32 gigabytes DDR5 when I can work backwards to an older platform, maybe like AM4, and just have DDR4 paired with it? That's good enough. And that's probably going to be a phrase we'll hear more and more as we go along. Good enough. And it's weird that PC is kind of becoming a home for that phrase now, because for the longest time, PC, you went to that platform to go all out with maybe a nice GPU and a nice processor. And sure, you'd spend maybe $1,000 or more on that build. So it was more expensive than a console, but it felt more expensive. Like you got just significantly better performance. Now we're talking about RAM that is the same price as a PlayStation 5. So it's kind of losing that luster of you spend a little more, but it makes sense. Now you spend a
Oh
whole...
my goodness, that is a great point. Yeah, you're reaching the point where good RAM is approaching the price of a console. See, the thing is that I don't anticipate that the console manufacturers would not adjust for that. Right? Like, I mean, maybe Sony wouldn't raise prices because they're like, well, if maybe our PS5 prices are going to start blowing up, but like I can't imagine they wouldn't try and take advantage of the price gouging. You know what I mean? I cannot imagine Sony would just be like, they're gonna hold too. I would venture to think they're gonna raise their prices as well. I don't. Maybe you call me cynical. I can't anticipate that. Gabe Newell might need to hold on to that Steam machine until things cool down, says Odin Salty. Again, I hate to be cynical, but I can't envision that the Sony and the Xboxes, they're just gonna keep their prices there when, you know, the prices of everything else goes up. I mean, you are right. I mean, Odin Salty in chat said that Xbox is already beginning to increase their prices.
It really doesn't make much sense just because prices have been going up. This Project Stargate is an interesting one, all right, because this is for OpenAI, and it's just now really starting up. So over the last year and a half, it's kind of been in this planning phase. And also them kind of going around the political planning phase, just trying to grease some palms and, you know, whatever they can do to be able to essentially pull together about $500 billion. That's the amount of money that's being invested into this project. And it's planned to run through 2029 with that investment. So yeah, that's kind of the next 3 to 4 years is what we're looking at right now. And that becomes a problem because we've talked about next generation consoles being affected by the DRAM shortage, and it is. Like, there's no way it wouldn't be in this case. So the idea of them delaying consoles into 2029 or 2030 might align with this. It depends. Maybe they need more, and they got to build more data centers. They got to put them in space or in the ocean or wherever. And the whole point of this is,
Onus
these
Salty in
companies believe
chat
that
says, sadly, knowing how the industry works, most of these companies will probably not adjust the price if they solve the inflation problem.
are going
They are not going to solve the inflation problem. Judging from our government leadership, I don't think that's something they care about ever solving.
get to artificial general intelligence, and that when they do,
If they did care about it, they wouldn't be spending more than they've ever spent, considering how bad the inflation problem is, apparently.
will really accelerate. There's the theory of like the launchpad phase where AI starts working on
It's
AI.
no coincidence that they keep claiming, inflation keeps getting worse, our debt keeps building, and yet the country is somehow still spending more than we've ever spent, yet people feel less of that than ever before. Some things don't quite add up. I think I'm delving too much into politics, but, government spending is up, debt is up, inflation is up, but people have less money than they've ever had. I mean, does that sound like people that care about rising prices anywhere?
Millions of instances, and it just churns and churns and churns, and AI starts self-improving. Now they think that'll eventually get us to utopia, or it could be Skynet. We'll flip a coin when we get there, I guess, see how that turns out. But the point is, they're all in because they believe there is this incredible future, this incredible discovery just a few years off. All right. So with that in mind, NVIDIA at the forefront, at the center of all of this AI stuff. They are the ones providing the chips, and that's how it goes. They don't have to worry about, will AI work out, because they're already selling the chips. They're already incredibly valuable. They're well known for gaming, and I know now they are more all in and valuable on the AI side. But when it comes to gaming, they are they're almost a quintessential. People look at them and go, yep, that's NVIDIA. They got GeForce and their GPUs. They've been around for a long, long time. Well, the two companies, AMD and NVIDIA, plan to not only raise prices once, but also begin phased price adjustments over the next few months. As a result, prices can be raised not only for consumer GPUs, but also for expensive GPUs used in artificial intelligence, AI data centers, and servers. And by the way, $500 billion says they don't really care that much on the AI side. They will pay what they need to pay. We do kind of care, because if prices shoot up 100% on GPUs, yeah, we're going to feel that. And we might be like, you know what? I'm good for now. 1080p doesn't sound bad for PC now, looking at some of these prices. Even 1440p is relatively manageable with mid-range GPUs at this time. And looking at the Steam hardware surveys, that seems like that's what most people play at anyway. Let me know down in the comments what resolution you're playing right now on PC. Because for me, I have a widescreen at 1440p, and I think it's some of the best experiences you can have in gaming is with a nice ultra widescreen display at 1080p or 1440p. It's such a unique experience compared to what we have.
I hate to say it, I have a PC that sometimes can run 1440 just for great performance. I almost always play stuff on my PC at 1080. I don't know. I'm more of a performance over quality guy, or I don't know. I'd rather my game feels great than looks immaculate, or I don't know. I think that's something I've always kind of leaned into.
Even on consoles that don't really have that benefit. They are talking about a price point that sounded absurd to me. The RTX 5090, NVIDIA's flagship product, shipped at the beginning of this year at $2,000. They're saying it's expected to soar to $5,000. So that's what, 150% price increase.
Oh, that's what I said.
So I
See,
think the
I know how to do
$5,000,
math.
That's what's getting thrown around right now. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess that's easy
Why
math.
would you even sell that in stores? Well, as we mentioned, the DRAM squeeze right now is on, and the 5090 has 32 gigabytes of DDR7, and that's quite expensive. So, that is the part that I think is really
smart.
weighing down
I know math.
the 5090. But here's the good news.
1080 has greater performance
Most
in
people
terms
don't
of
need the
frames. I
5090.
almost always just go
so
1080, even if
good news and bad news,
even if a
technically,
game
because the good
has
news is,
better
hey,
or
the
says it can
5090,
do,
I'm okay with
better.
a 5070. Sure. But the 5090 going up to $5,000 is going to have an effect on the market, much like we see right now with DDR4, where DDR5 gets more expensive, so people turn to other means like DDR4, and prices for that go up. So I think the 5090 or even the RX 9 with the 9070
Oh,
XT,
I didn't think about that, but that's a great point. He's saying is that even if people say, okay, well, I'm going to go with a lesser model or whatever, a lower RTX, it doesn't matter because because the fact that they raised the prices on the higher one, that's going to affect the prices on the lower one, because then that's going to lessen the inventory of the weaker one. Therefore, scarcity always raises prices. So if more people are buying, the lesser yeah, that's disappointing. I didn't think about that.
Right now that was more fairly priced. That's a $700 card if you want to pick that up even from like their board partners and stuff. So like an MSI card or something. And when you see that and you go, would that turn into a $1,000 card? Would turn into a $1,200 card? The point is, everything else then below it would most likely creep up in price as well, because they all use VRAM too. So it's, I mean, the 5080 is what, 16 gigabytes of DDR7. That's also very expensive. So I'm envisioning a lot of these cards to most likely go up anywhere from 50% to 100%, like an actual doubling. I think the $5,000 is them just kind of putting the high end out there. I really wanted to get this out there because if you're considering putting a PC together, or you're considering upgrading your GPU, I mean, this might be the time. And I don't think it's necessary to get a 4090 or a 5090. I think most people would be fine with like even honestly, a 4060 Ti or a 4070 or a 5070. You don't need this crazy 32 gigabyte VRAM card. It's just unnecessary for most people. Now, if you're somebody who has 3 ultra wide monitors and you're aiming for some crazy resolution, okay, you know what, maybe you do need that. But for many people, you're okay even going a generation or two back. I mean, I look at some of these prices now, and this might be the last time you see a 9070 XT at 570, and this is a Micro Center. I usually look at Micro Center as kind of getting a temperature check for the market where some of these prices are. So even the 5090, it's something you can find. Let's see. I thought I saw one that was $2,000, unless the prices went up while I was on camera looking at this. I mean, there's 2000, okay, 2750. Man, it really it's tough out here. Jeez, okay. Well, there, at least for Micro Center, apparently it's $2,700. I feel like I saw Best Buy with one at $2,000.
Goodness,
that might have been on sale.
I could not
So there you go.
imagine. I'm sorry, call it unemployment, but I could not imagine spending almost $3,000 on a graphics card right now. I would not be happy having to spend that on one at the moment. That's insane. Prices are crazy. I mean, granted, again, that is for like probably a high end top tier graphics card, but just the idea that like another graphics card, he was looking at other ones and like low end, it was looking like $500. Again, that is literally the price of a console. I cannot imagine those consoles will stay that price for long.
Kind of going up in price now. And the unfortunate thing is, I don't know when relief would kick in.
Odin Salty says pre-built PCs might actually be cheaper the alternate now compared to building a PC, considering that pre-built PC companies are most likely buying PC parts in bulk for a lower price. That's been the case for a long time. I've been saying that for years for people that are always like, I want to get into PCs. I want to get into a PC. For probably 5 or 6, several years now, I've been telling people, buy a pre-built. They come in, they're already built, and most likely they're a similar price of what you're going to pay if you... I mean, if you built it your own, you're probably saving $100 or $200. You know, nothing crazy, but I've been saying for a while, I think pre-built PCs are your go-to, and maybe that'll continue to be the case. I don't know. I definitely hope I definitely hope there is like an option for people to relatively be able to cheaply get into this awesome hobby of PCing, because I love my PC, but who knows? I don't even know if my PC went down completely. I mean, I could probably replace a part or two, but I want to know how expensive it would be to replace this whole darn thing. Okay, well that's that. That's disappointing. Like I said, I saw a couple of videos on that topic, and it definitely seems like people are touching on that right now with the Nvidia stuff. I mean, maybe, yeah, Odin. Again, I think I said it before, but I can't imagine the prices are going to go down. So if you're looking to buy one, if your financial situation is fine, I would definitely say now is probably your time to buy your PC. I still think it's probably going to be mad expensive for a new PC. I would venture. Can you even get a brand new PC? Can you even build a PC right now for $1,500? I think you probably can, right? Build one, because that's probably low. I would say. I mean, granted, I haven't built my PC in years, but maybe $2,000, right? That's probably more realistic for a good PC right now. Is $2,000 building one. I'm kind of curious. Let's go look. I kind of want to look at some pre-built PCs, actually. Pre-built gaming PC. Let's see what we got here. Okay, well I see something for $1,000. I mean, how much RAM is that? Let's see. So Windows 11, GeForce 5060, 32 gigabytes, DDR4 3200. So that would be what? It's not too bad. I mean, shoot, man, there's a PC here for $1,000. It's not like 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte. That's a 5700X AMD. I mean, honestly, shoot, these PCs are like, these are like almost on par with what I have. And that's for 1,000 plus tax. I mean, what would that probably be? 1,200? I don't feel like these are that bad. These are very low end, don't get me wrong. I mean, you're not going to be able to... You'll probably be able to do what I do, though, with my PC. I bet those games are good for medium and low setting. Yeah. For probably like my PC. I would say these are probably like my setup that I currently have. These are nice computers. Do a quick view. GeForce 5060. It's a Ryzen. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, if I were you, Odin, I would probably jump onto one of these. That I can't imagine. Give it much longer, you're going to be able to get a pre-built PC for $1,000. Now, the one thing I will say is I don't know much about the upgradability with the pre-build. Like, can you? Because I do think the downfall typically of a pre-build is that you can't, like, aren't the parts generally like specified for that build? So like, I don't think you can generally like do your own upgrading. If I'm wrong, I can't remember. If you can swap parts out on these, that would be incredible. But if you can't, I definitely think that's a bit of a downfall. But granted, that's why you're probably spending 1,000 for a decent PC. See, like this one, and then you could always look at the reviews for something like this. Let's see what people say. Great PC. I bet you could find a no RBG pre-built PC that's probably has better hardware. Not much money being spent on the look of it. Runs smooth, looks great, and it's silent. Looks as advertised. I can never tell with reviews. Reviews are so tricky. I can't tell. Sometimes I look at some reviews and I'm like, that's a bot. Runs super good, super quiet, small, but small build. I generally like the reviews that have pictures, honestly. Very easy setup, very, very quiet. Customer service. And they're running dual monitor setups like me. I have 3 monitors, so my PC generally has a lot to do. So no, it's a pretty PC. Got some reviews. Huh. Gosh, it got me wanting to build a PC now. Did I ever share with you guys my Oh, I totally forgot. I did a video of me building my PC. I should share that with you guys. I totally forgot I did an entire video. Alright, just because I'm curious, I'm going to keep looking at PCs, I think. I mean, it seems like everyone's pretty happy with this one. What other builds did they have? They've got, let's see, this is Ryzen 7700, and that one was a 57. Ryzen 7. RTX 5060, same thing, 16 RAM, terabytes. Was that NVMe? Yep, so that was NVMe 2.0 SSD. I can't really see what the difference is between... Well, it's okay, the difference would be the Ryzen slightly better. 5.3 gigahertz turbo. 5060... Yeah, I mean, I would say this one's probably, like, that's probably worth it, the upgrade, the extra $400. Gen 4. I mean, again, I'm not like super knowledgeable, but it looks like this is DDR. That's DDR5. Which one is this? PC Shopping said Skylar. I'm just because okay. Now we're immediately jumping to the high price stuff, just because I was curious. So there's a Ryzen 7 7800. So that's why that one's a little more expensive, as that one's got an upgraded processor. RTX 5070, so that's a similar... Oh, it's a slightly better graphics card. Yeah, I mean, again, like, the price makes sense. Like, that, it makes sense jumping up from 14 to an extra 250 or 280 there. Alright, well, just because I'm curious. And then you can get super cheap. This is probably, like, bottom tier. 550 watts. I feel like that's low for power output. Ryzen 57. What's the difference? Why is this one only 650? It's a Ryzen 5700. I don't see why this one is so low. I don't know. Don't take your advice from me. I'm not like, again, I'm not like the Phoenix from the channel. He's the PC guy. I don't know anything. I would definitely say, though, if you can afford it, going up from something like this, I would definitely go with maybe like, again, something maybe like this, the Ryzen 77 versus this one's 78. And I guess it all depends on just what you're willing to spend. Like, this one is slightly better for an extra 280. I think that would be worth it if you can afford it. I would get a PC now that I think about it. I don't really use it that often, says Skylar Twilight. You say that now, but especially, I guess, well, maybe for someone like me who does a lot of, like, the streaming and stuff, maybe I use it a ton. I'm kind of curious. Destin's talking about console prices or console games.
Sounds like next generation consoles are going to be delayed a little bit longer than we might have originally anticipated. Why might that be? AI and the raising cost of RAM.
Destin Legary went to, if you guys don't know anything about this guy, Destin Legary, he is a former IGN person who was there just a couple of years ago. It's interesting that he left like probably what was a pretty cushy job at IGN to join content creators. I would love to know why he did this. I mean, maybe because I know Destin had started this channel at some point when he was at IGN, so I would venture to guess how many subscribers. 135K. I mean, I'd love to have 135K, but yeah, he must have started this channel. It must have been pulling in better numbers than, I couldn't imagine why he left IGN, or maybe he just, I don't know. That'd be interesting. Because again, he had a cushy job. Maybe he was just taking a bet that IGN was like not a failing company, but why can't I think of the word? I can't think of the word for inadequate. Not inadequate. It's just an oldish type, like maybe that type of content's just on the way out. Long form VODs. IGN, it's an older name in gaming.
So if you
antiquated. That's what I was thinking. Maybe it was like IGN is like an antiquated business model or business in general.
Haven't heard, the price of RAM has just been going up astronomically, and the reason that is happening is because AI requires a lot of RAM to work. Now, this is impacting everything. It's impacting PC component prices, and guess what? Consoles also use PC components like RAM. Now, Insider Gaming is reporting that this is causing a lot of places like PlayStation and Xbox who are looking at next generation consoles to reevaluate
just do your own thing. It's
their
better that way, says
position
Odin.
and
Yeah,
launch timing
I agree
for
with you ultimately.
these next generation pieces of hardware. From what we've heard, the industry as a whole is concerned about RAM availability, as they should be, and what that is going to mean for mass producing consoles at a competitive price point, not only for the next generation, but it could also mean that yet more price increases for current generation consoles will hit us in 2026.
Yeah, so again, he's just touching on what we were already learning about with Spawn Wave, and also from Charlie earlier about I mean, that could make sense. I mean, I guess this is what Insider Gaming, the idea that the console generations could get shifted due to the crazy increase in pricing. I tell you, I wouldn't inherently have a problem with that. Granted, I can't afford a new console right now, but I wouldn't venture to guess. Yeah, they were to shift making new consoles another couple of years, I think they're fine. The consoles are fine right now. I think the games look plenty good still.
That is via Insider Gaming. Now, the problem with all that is it's not just RAM. It's probably going to impact other components,
GPUs,
and that is going to mean
talking about.
an overall negative effect on the entire industry. Everybody's been focused on the ethical and moral implications of generative AI. And it's not really till it starts hitting you in the pocketbook that people start saying, oh, okay, well, maybe we need to pump the brakes on this aspect of this tool that a lot of people have been using. Now, there have been some other reports out there. Paul Tassi sort of talked about this one a little bit. He said there are two main industry issues this causes. With these consoles years away, this could mean further price hikes for current gen hardware. Sony has already upped prices once, Xbox twice. Now we're in a situation where a PS5 costs more than it did at launch 5 years ago in an industry where prices are supposed to go down in time. Microsoft, meanwhile, has now had to increase the prices of a console like the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X to an eye-popping $800. That price and others contributing to Xbox hardware sales falling off.
I didn't realize they increased it that much for the 2 terabyte. $800, man. Like, yeah, I didn't even realize the prices were up that much.
Nintendo has thus far avoided price hikes on its new Switch 2, though it launched at $450, far above the $300 of the original Switch. The Switch one recently saw a 10% price increase itself. Then the obvious next step, if these current consoles cost this much, what on earth are we talking about as a price for next-gen consoles? PlayStation 6 or the next
Probably,
Xbox?
yeah, $800 to $1,000.
These will be consoles that launch at what? $800 to $1,000?
Yeah,
I got to be honest,
obvious.
I think that Paul is woefully underestimating what to expect in terms of price on these next generation.
Whoa, is that Destin saying he thinks it could be higher than 800? That was my first thought, was 800 to $1,000 if they're gonna take that leap. I could not imagine. Would consoles sell well at over 800 to $1,000?
Pieces of hardware, and more than the equivalent of that in other regions. And without RAM relief and price cuts, even that may turn out to be a big loss for these companies. Those price estimates could be low. Yep, they probably are low, especially when you look at what these companies have been investing in. What has Xbox been investing in? What have they said is the future? What is Nvidia talking about? Well, timely enough, GeForce Now is now applying a 100-hour monthly gameplay limit to nearly all paid subscribers. Extra time will be charged at the performance tier $2.99 per 15 hours and the ultimate tier $5.99 per 15 hours. And this is a time when Xbox Game Pass has gone up to $30 a month. We have seen the console prices increase, and all in all, my hot take on this whole situation is I think that the current consoles are quite powerful. We have had some amazing looking games graphically. We have had some amazing looking games in terms of what pixels these things are able to push. So I think everyone should delay next gen consoles until all of this gets sorted out, because the alternative is going to be these weird cloud-based situations where you're paying per hour played versus paying for physical.
No, I agree with Destin. I don't have a problem with them pushing them back. I think the consoles look plenty good right now, man. Like whenever I play a game on my PS5, I'm pretty consistently like, damn, this looks good. If they're going to, Odin Salty in the YouTube chat says, if they're going to keep increasing it, I have a feeling that there will be a renaissance of older consoles. At least I personally feel like dusting off my consoles and just playing those. Yeah, fair enough.
Physical hardware because it will become a luxury for many. Marcelo responded to my tweet. I said, everyone should delay next-gen consoles in my opinion. The current gen is more than capable. Marcelo said, maybe, just maybe, devs will start to really use current hardware and optimize. If you look at what Doom the Dark Ages was able to accomplish in terms of optimization, it really shows just how little is actually being done by a lot of the developers.
Odin Salty says, even the Series S still looking... Oh, shoot, smack my mic. Looking good for 1080p gaming right now. I agree with you. I think my PC looks good. All my consoles look good. I feel like the Switch could look a little better, but that's just Nintendo's their own thing. But I definitely think in terms of the Xbox and the PS5, like, they look plenty fine. I wouldn't worry about. I would definitely push a next gen console at least 2 more years. Give it 2 more years, maybe figure it out.
And the forgotten art of optimization that was once required to make great games. Optimization just goes out the window most of the time. Monster Hunter, as a great example on PC, it is so poorly optimized, it is regarded as one of the worst PC ports of all time. And then there's companies like id Software who greatly optimize and have had huge success offering different options for console players and different options for PC players on widely different types of machines that have been released over the years. Mumblefly said, agree completely. This is
all right. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with Destin or any of these guys. I definitely think, like, I would be perfectly fine if they wanted to push off another generation of consoles. I think the games look plenty good right now. I just don't see why you would feel the need to.
Well, well. Looks like you've reached the end, haven't you? You imbeciles. On enterchazman, you'll witness gaming brilliance beyond your comprehension. ChazmanLive brings the drama. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. EST. Long Plays delivers full journeys, uncut and unspoiled. Join the Patreon, Discord, Instagram, and TikTok below, if you can manage it. Still not following enterchazman? Then mediocrity clearly suits you.